Hello, my name is Aaron Fisher, and my project is titled Preparing for the Climate of Tomorrow. Climate change is a process that at this point is pretty well agreed upon, but even so, there are many unknowns when it comes to climate change in the future. One of those unknowns is changes to the hydrological cycle, where we believe that seasonality in many places will change, and Washington is no exception, with winters predicted to get more rain and summers predicted to get less rain, which has the potential to lead to more drought that could affect activities like forest restoration negatively. Our own inadequate preparation and restoration techniques could lead to devastation in forest and forest restoration, if not thought about now. My research question is, will drought caused by climate change in the future have negative effects on forest restoration, and how can we mitigate these effects? My goal is to identify future problems and then maybe give some solutions as well. I interned with Green Shadow Partnership to help perform forest restoration in Thorndike Park as an assistant forest steward. Figure one shows Thorndike Park on the left, with the University of Washington also shown at the top right. During my internship, I performed forest restoration activities such as planting and removing noxious weeds. I would often do this work alone, but I did host events multiple times during my internship where I led groups in doing forest restoration as well. For my methods, I acquired a catalog of plants my site supervisor could use to plant in the park. I also used the King County noxious weeds list to identify noxious weeds that are considered problems in King County. And then finally, I identified drought tolerance from those plants and then compared them using the weed list and the catalog. And here are my results. So figure two here shows count on the y-axis and then classification on the x-axis, where I put the classification being native for native plants, and then class A, B, C, and non-regulated, which are all non-native noxious weeds. The blue column for each class shows the total count, while the gray column shows the count of plants that were drought tolerant within that class. I found that 38% of native plants were drought tolerant and 66% of noxious weeds were drought tolerant. At the same time, I believe it is important to note that there were only 45 native plants that could be planted, and of those 45, only 17 were drought tolerant, while there were 139 non-native noxious weeds that King County considers a problem. These results are significant because they show a clear distinction between the drought tolerance of native and non-native plants, meaning that native plants will be less fit in the face of future drought. The native plant struggle could also be magnified because of the high drought tolerance in noxious weeds. These are noxious weeds. They're more drought tolerant, and they also outcompete most other native plants, so the reduction in fitness will be felt more with native plants. The implications of this problem are clear. Restoration practices will need to change in the face of future drought. Some solutions to help this could be things like a plant inventory, where we organize plants that we're planting to make better decisions and organization practices about our plants. Another solution could be a brand new framework to help people make more informed decisions. Because as of right now, I don't believe that forest stewards under Green Shadow Partnership where they have any framework to follow. Figure three shows a simple framework that can be used based on drought tolerance. We start with an identified plant and we move down the flow chart based on whether it's a native plant, noxious weed, and what its drought tolerance is, so we can determine whether or not we should focus on this plant more. I would like to thank my faculty advisor, Christina Vaught, my site supervisor, Walter Hewson, and Green Shadow Partnership for their support. Thank you for listening to my project.